What's up everybody? This is Phoenix Metro Living. Today we're going to do a video comparing the East versus West Valley in Phoenix, Arizona. So let's get right into it. I jotted down some points because there's a lot to discuss, so don't mind me if I'm looking down. I just want to make sure I hit everything. So let's get right into it. So we'll start with the West Valley cities. Those are Surprise, Goodyear, Buckeye, Peoria, Glendale, Tolleson, Avondale, Anthem, and Sun City. The East Valley has Scottsdale, Tempe, Gilbert, Chandler, Mesa, Queen Creek, and I guess you can throw the Santan Valley in there because that's being really built up, even though I believe most of it's in Pinal County, but we'll still put it in there just for the hell of it. So the West Valley we'll start with. It's definitely cheaper than the East Valley nowadays. It's not as built up as the East Valley. There's not as much opportunity for good jobs out this way. Most of the jobs are in the East Valley. So if you want the West Valley, you're looking for a cheaper housing cost most likely, but you're gonna have a longer commute for the most part. There's not as much of a nightlife in the West Valley. Most of the stuff that you're gonna wanna do is gonna be over in Scottsdale, Gilbert, or Tempe. And of course, downtown Phoenix has some nightlife as well, but depending where you live, that's about right in the center, so it doesn't really matter too much. The West Valley cities, most of the cities are gonna be a little closer to going up north. A lot of especially the Southeast Valley, like Chandler, Mesa, Gilbert, it's gonna be a little longer of a commute to get up north, probably add on 30 to 40 minutes, maybe even a little bit longer depending on how far out you are, like if you're in Queen Creek. Another thing about the West Valley is there's a lot more retirees in my opinion, especially because you have Sun City, which is literally right next to Surprise and Peoria. It's literally right in there. So it's definitely it's a little more relaxed, I'd say, on the West Valley because there are a lot more retirees and not as many people are going to a 9-to-5 job. But also that can be a downfall depending what you like because it can get pretty boring on the West Valley. As I said, most of the stuff you're gonna wanna do is on the East Valley. So keep that in mind. Really depends on what you're looking for. If you're more of a homebody, you want a little cheaper house, maybe a bigger house, then West Valley might be right for you. Let's get into some areas of the West Valley that I prefer. I'd say the nicer parts are in northern Peoria. Anthem has good areas, but Anthem's really far out there, so that's gonna be a really long commute, especially if you're going from Anthem to the East Valley. It's gonna be pretty bad. Buckeye has Verrado, which is a little community of itself inside Buckeye. It's really nice. If you've never been out there, you should definitely check it out. The only thing with Buckeye is Verrado is maybe 50 minutes from downtown Phoenix without traffic. So you're gonna have quite a commute if you're still working and you live out there. But it's definitely a nice community. It has a main street and everything, golf course out there. So it might be one you wanna check out. You also have Australia Mountain and Goodyear, which is also pretty far out there because it's nestled into the mountains. So there's only one way in and out, but for the most part, those are the best areas. Tolleson, I've not heard too many great things about it. It's definitely a lot more crime on that side of the West Valley. Avondale, from what I know, if you're south of the 10 freeway, it's a little more dicey. If you're north of the 10 freeway, it could be a little better. So definitely check out the areas to make sure you're getting into somewhere that you really want to be. And yeah, also there is the Luke Air Force Base, which is in the West Valley, and if you're anywhere near that, like Glendale, Peoria, Surprise, Sun City, you're gonna be hearing the airplanes a lot, so get ready for that. Next up, we'll talk about the schools. There is a basis in Peoria. There is good schools in Surprise as well. So there's definitely good schools, but it might be hard to find them because some of the areas have not as great schools. But the good thing about Arizona is you can travel to any school that you want to, no matter where you live. So you definitely just have to do your research on the schooling and find the right one for your kids. Also in the West Valley, you do have Hurricane Harbor, which is run by Six Flags. It's up in Glendale, Peoria border. I just heard actually recently that they're going to be remodeling it and upgrading it, so that's pretty cool. That's one good thing about the West Valley. That's definitely the best park, I'd say, water park. The other ones, there's some in the East Valley, but they're not as good as Hurricane Harbor. Other than that, you also have Lake Pleasant, which is up in the West Valley, northern Peoria. So that is the biggest lake that I know of in the Phoenix metro area. Definitely a lot of opportunities for water sports, water recreation, which is cool. They also have 2 restaurants up there. So if you want to have lunch or dinner by the water, it's definitely a good opportunity up there. So that's for the most part the West Valley. Now moving on to the East Valley. The commute is a little less over there because most of the jobs are in Scottsdale, Chandler area. Other than that, it would be in Central Phoenix, which Central Phoenix is about, depending where you are, it can be a little closer from the East Valley than the West Valley, but just depends. It's definitely more built up in the East Valley. There's definitely more going on out there. Like I said, there's more nightlife, there's more restaurants, there's more things to do with your family. The schools, for the most part, are pretty good in the East Valley. Scottsdale has good schools, Chandler's pretty good schools, Gilbert's good schools. Mesa can get iffy depending on the area. Queen Creek, I've heard it's pretty up and coming. It has decent schools. So for the most part, the schools are pretty good on the East Valley. There's definitely a basis over in those areas as well. So if you want to look into basis, you can find those on the East or West Valley. There's a lot of stuff still coming to the East Valley. They just actually opened a Medieval Times out here in Scottsdale. They're gonna have a Great Wolf Lodge, which is opening soon. You have the Odyssey Aquarium, that's in Scottsdale as well. So when you're looking into things that you want to do, you'll start to realize that a lot of things are on the East Valley compared to the West Valley. There's not much besides maybe Westgate in Glendale. You have the Cardinals Stadium and you have the Coyotes Stadium. But other than that, the West Valley just doesn't have a lot going on. You're gonna mostly be making your trips out east if you want to do some fun stuff. You also have the Salt River in the East Valley. That is in Mesa, the outskirts of Mesa. Salt River can be pretty fun. A lot of people do that in the summertime. There's more family-owned restaurants, like I said. Downtown Gilbert has basically whatever comes to Scottsdale or Phoenix is now transferring over to downtown Gilbert or the Gilbert area. A lot of stuff that is in those areas you won't see coming out to the West Valley, so keep that in mind as well. One more thing is, if you're looking for something to do, there is Castles and Coasters off the 17 and Dunlap, I believe. That's actually a little closer to the West Valley. So if you want some nightlife stuff, something fun to do in the West Valley, that's definitely a place to go to. But other than that, the other thing I'd say that I forgot to mention about the West Valley is there's more outdoor opportunities for like off-roading recreational vehicles, because the West Valley isn't as built up. There's definitely more dirt areas that you can still find compared to the East Valley, where it's going to be a little harder to find places to go ATVing. Also, the East Valley has ASU, which I forgot to mention, which is one of the two major universities here in Arizona. Well, there's actually three. There's ASU in Tempe, Arizona University in Tucson, and then Northern Arizona University, which is up in Flagstaff, but that's a little smaller of the three. So yeah, you don't have a major university out in the West Valley either. So keep that in mind as well. Like I said, more retirements out in the West Valley. So if you're looking to retire, you're a homebody, you don't care about going out too much, nightlife, finding good restaurants, then you'll probably enjoy the West Valley. Overall, I'll just give my opinion. I've actually been living up in the West Valley with my fiance for the past 2.5 years. So we've been all around the West Valley, all around the East Valley. And since we've done that so many times, we have realized that the East Valley is definitely for us. So we'll be looking to relocate over that way within the next year, possibly. There's just, for people our age at least, there's more going on in the East Valley. Like I said, we like trying new restaurants. There's more high-end restaurants as well. Like not all, but most of the good steakhouses are on the East Valley. The West Valley, you have Arrowhead Grill, which is okay. That's in Glendale. And then you have Fleming's, which is in Peoria. But the crazy thing about Peoria, well, all the cities really in Arizona, but they're so big. So you can be up in northern Peoria and it's gonna take you 25-30 minutes just to get to the Fleming's and the other part of Peoria. So keep that in mind as well. Like, you might go venture out to northern Peoria and think it's really nice because it is, but then you'll start realizing after a few weeks of living there that most of the stuff you're gonna wanna do is a 30-minute drive or more. So keep that in mind. But yeah, the East Valley definitely, I feel, is a better place to raise a kid. It's just better in general, especially if you're looking to get a higher paying job. That's where most of the higher paying jobs are. It's just more family oriented in my opinion. There's more going on out there and it seems like it's gonna keep trending that way. The West Valley is definitely up and coming, but it's probably gonna be another 10 years at least before there's anything out here for the most part besides chain restaurants and houses. So that should definitely help you choose. I'll break it down just right here. Like, if you want, West Valley is good for chain restaurants, cheaper houses, bigger houses, and if you don't mind a commute. The East Valley is definitely, you're not gonna get as much for your money, but you're gonna be more centered to where everything's happening. And the quality of life is a little bit better in my opinion, if you're not a homebody and you do like going out. So that pretty much wraps up the video about West versus East. I know a lot of people always comment about that, where they should move, which side is better, which side is which. Again, this is just my opinion. East Valley wins in my opinion, but you may have another opinion. So yeah, just want to let you guys know. Thanks for tuning in to the real first video that I've made. It might have been a little shaky, but it'll get better over time. So if you could give it a like, I would appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button. Planning on dropping a lot more videos since a lot of people seem to be interested in the Arizona topics, since a ton of people are moving to the Phoenix metro area. And now that I have 2.5 years under my belt of living here, I feel like I can give a pretty good opinion and information about the Phoenix Metro as a whole. So stay tuned, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.